All right. Well, welcome to our Snacks and Facts today, everyone. Today is a very fun topic that's dear to my heart, and it is core values. So I'm going to share my screen with you all. All right. So core values, I know we talk about these in quarterly reviews, interview process, and we know it's something that is within search nurture, but we've never really done like a deep dive into what each of these, core values means to search nurture and to each of us individually, and what those kind of look like in action. So I wanted to talk about that today. It's like, first off, what are our core values? Hopefully everyone knows what they are here. If you don't, let me know. But then what do those mean to us? Like, are they just core values that are plastered on the wall? Like, how do we embrace these every day? So we'll dive into integrity, innovation, initiative, collaboration. And then afterwards, I'm gonna make it a little interactive, admitting some people in here, and see kind of what these core values mean to all of you, like how you've seen them embraced and actions you've seen at Search Nurture that make you go like, dang, that's like innovation at its fullest, right? So it'll be interactive. It'll be me speaking, but then I also have some special guests. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive in. Oh, more people coming. All right. So for us, core values, something we've always said is like, we don't want it to just be lip service. We don't want it to just be like, we're a company, we have to have core values. Here you go, let's throw some out. These sound nice. For us, it's like embodied into every decision we make, every new hire we bring on the team, every interaction we're having with like the clients. That's when we want our core values to really be at the forefront. So as you all know, like in our interview process, we have technical interviews, we have culture and values interviews. We can have the brightest person, account manager interview with us and be super impressed by their skill set. But if we get to that culture and values interview and we feel like, I don't know, integrity might be a little red flag here and there, that's not something that we would move forward with. And I think it shows with everyone that we have on the team now, is every single one of you embraces these 4 core values immensely. So go ahead and gonna jump into what these look like. So we have, of course, integrity, innovation, initiative, and collaboration. And, I could sit here and tell you what I think each of these core values means and how we can embody them. But what I wanted to do is when I thought of these core values, I first think like, this is search nurture culture. These are everyone we have on the team. But specifically, there's people that I thought of, like when I thought of integrity, my mind kind of went to someone of like, they are a great representative for this core value. So with that said, integrity is going to be the first core value we talk about. And I really wanted Karina to speak on this because if you know her integrity is top notch. She's always holding herself accountable, her team accountable, and just acting in complete transparency with everything she does. So Karina, I'd love if you talk about this core value a little bit and what it looks like for you at Search Nurture.
Yes, I think when it comes to integrity, this is something that we talk about each Monday meeting, because integrity for me, it means to be able to express gratitude for when others help you, for example. So when we take the time to give recognitions when other people help you, when other people really add value to your work life, I think that definitely talks about your integrity as well, because you're giving them the respect and the merit that they add to you. But also it means being reliable and accountable for your action. So, a meeting when there is a mistake or when unexpected obstacle happen. So I think integrity, it adds value to be to help us build a long-lasting and healthy relationship with every one of our of our collaborators, and making sure that, you know, we have respect for each other, we value our honesty and openness, and especially, for example, when it comes to the feedbacks that, like, I have been able to reach out to Lindsay Loan, for example, when it comes to like call feedback. Hey, can you give me your honest feedback in terms of this call? And having that, I think, that value as a company is really important, and has really made a difference in terms of how the company is, and really in our work life.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I don't know if anyone else wants to add kind of what they think of when they think of integrity. But I feel like something you mentioned is so important. It's like adding value to everyone's life, right? Is making sure that it's easy communication, it's very transparent, and you know that each other has the best intentions to where you can have that honest feedback. I feel like that's something where if you can say something without fear of a reaction, that's kind of what I think of when I think of integrity. So I'm not sure if anyone else has anything, but.
I would add something here, and I won't speak too much since I'm chatting later, but having worked at a number of different sales organizations, integrity is not always top of mind for different sales orgs in particular, sales is. And so I really respect the fact that this is a core tenet of our operations, and that we want to make sure that any decisions that are made, for instance, from a sales standpoint, are ultimately going to be good for the team as well as the company, and that we're not just so focused on the bottom line that, you know, screw everything else, but rather that this is something that we really care about, that our clients represent integrity to a degree as well, as far as how we're going to be operating with them. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and speaking about it, when it comes to the clients as well, like our roles as an account manager, sharing recommendations and really sharing what is best for them, not just what's best for us, because, you know, we could be recommending campaign expansion and like increasing budgets everywhere, because that would look good. But in reality, we really want to make sure that we're being transparent with them. And if something doesn't work, like really good for them, like for their strategy, I think that's when integrity comes into play, because we definitely want to make sure that we bring the best to our clients as well, and that we're being as transparent as we can when it comes to results.
Thank you so much, Karina. So next we have innovation, and I thought of Allie for this one. You know, she's been with Search Nurture for the SEO team for a while, and she's definitely seen it go in phases, constantly improving. And I think that she has had a major impact in that innovation, specifically on the SEO side. I know, like, CRO, am I saying that right, Allie? It's like, you didn't know it, and she's like, I'm gonna learn it. I'm listening to podcasts. Like, no one asked her to do that, but let's do it. Let's go out of our comfort zone. So Allie, what does this look like for you at Search Nurture?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's really nice. I feel like innovation, for me, I just really like learning. And so I feel like just constantly, like, if you feel bored at your role, or you're like not excited or engaged with like the clients you have, I think sometimes like we tend to be like, oh, I need a new role, or I need whatever. But I feel like innovation is really the answer for that. Like, it really keeps me excited about my job and learning new things and like trying them out with clients and seeing results and testing them. Like, that's just something that I think is really fun and enjoyable about digital marketing in general. So I feel like, yeah, innovation for me is like just really, really closely tied with just learning and constantly being like curious and seeing new things that are out there. So I really love it as one of our core values. I'm glad we focused on it. But yeah, I think like with clients too, they get really excited when you come to them and say like, hey, I heard this new thing, like maybe we could test it out for your site, or if you tried it out with a different client, you could share it with your other clients. I've noticed that they tend to find that like really interesting and exciting. And if you come to that conversation with like a lot of excitement about a new thing that you've been learning, they probably tend to also be excited about it. And it keeps us kind of relevant for them and modern. So they know that we are constantly like trying new things and learning new things in the market.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I'll say something about innovation, because innovation to me was always the most like daunting core value, because I'm like, I'm not innovative. I'm not like creating this whole new process from scratch. Or like, I always thought it had to be something so big in order to be considered innovative. But yeah, learning something new, like those small actions that you just take, inspiring others, that's also innovation in action. So not sure if anyone has any notes about this, but open to hearing if so.
And I think innovation also speaks, just even sharing articles like we do, like on general, like about, what's going on and everything. I think that does add innovation because it helps us think outside the box. Like, for example, the other day, Mary was sharing some insights about the Super Bowl and how it changes like the search trends and everything. And in the end, we were able to create a Super Bowl campaign for a client. Like, it came out of nowhere, but I think that really speaks a lot to it.
Yeah, I was going to add, Savannah, I think that's a really good point. Like when we're doing our quarterly reviews, a lot of people get hung up at thinking of innovation in terms of output, when really it's more of like an attitude. Like, are you a creative problem solver? Because that's what innovation usually comes down to. And it's something you can really exhibit just in our everyday meetings. A lot of times it's a yes and kind of response to an idea instead of a no but kind of response. And Lindsay Lewin, I know you're very familiar with that line because it's like improv 101. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on like what that yes and allows others to do.
Sure, put me on the spot, why don't you, about core principles
no
of
problem.
improv comedy. The general principle behind yes and is that when somebody is initiating something, in this context, perhaps a project or something, that we're open to it and we add to it. So if Savannah came to us and said, this is a new quarterly review process, we wouldn't say no to it, but maybe we should try this other thing, but rather like, yes, let's try this out. And it would be interesting if we could incorporate this. So it's about building on each other's ideas rather than coming from a place of rejection or negativity. Like it's still something may still end up going down a different path, but ultimately what we're looking to do is build each other up and each other's ideas up. I don't know if that's what you're going for, Freddie, but yeah.
I love that too.
Yeah,
like,
that's
cool.
So good. I feel like improv has so many life lessons. My God.
Yeah.
Like
that's why so many companies do improv workshops. They can be hard because you can't really teach all the principles in like 4 hours, but
amazing.
I just had one more thing to say too, is like, I think I love what you said, Savannah, because yeah, when you were like, oh, Allie, like we picked you for innovation, I was like, am I like, because yeah, I'm thinking like output. I'm like, I mean, anyway, so, but I'm like, I think it's true. Like, I really love to learn, but I think just being curious and like about lots of different topics, like you said, Karina, with like Mary learning about the Super Bowl and just like, like I'll listen to podcasts on like lots of different types of digital marketing, but I almost always get ideas for like what I'm doing. So I like doing that too.
Yes. Yeah. You completely embody innovation, Allie. All right. So next we have initiative. And I chose Sean for this one. Sean's our only web developer, and we really had no processes in place. We didn't really ever have anyone before it was like full-time dedicated to this function. And he has come in, and trust me, he had a lot of things to do and just hit the ground running, knocked out so many things, and is always taking that initiative to be like, what's next? How are we going to drive more results? Like, how can we get this moving? And just extremely quick. So Sean, I'll let you go into more detail with what initiative means to you.
Well, first of all, thank you, Savannah, for considering that about me. And for me, initiatives, I think is what keeps together, right? It's like the glue that keeps together all the other values, especially on innovation and collaboration. Like, everything starts with an idea. And I think as a theme and as a group, right? One of the things I love about Search Nurture is that, everyone could have like a crazy idea, like Karina mentioned Super Bowl idea, or, and we have that confidence to share that, and, everyone just put their output and, it just becomes into something. So initiative for me is like that glue, right? That keeps all the other values together, like collaboration, everyone shares their ideas, and integrity, well, it's more of a principle, but also, right, it keeps all of those other values stick together. For me at the personal level, I feel like initiative is that first step to growth, right? Like you need to, you challenge yourself, you get out of that comfort zone, and I just feel like it's great, right? Like challenging yourself always, you know, I used to follow this guy, and he always have this, he always used to say that volunteering or taking initiative is a great act of leadership. So, you know, always putting yourself out of that comfort zone. And I think it's also a good way for us to like challenge our creativity and, you know, be that first person to test out things, and, you know, you implement your creativity and you expand, right, your knowledge, your experience, and, you know, it's just a lot of good things that comes with it. So that's my thoughts about it.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And initiative, I feel like that's such a beautiful thing at Search Nurture, because we all wear so many different hats. And even like if we're on the SEO team and we see something on paid media, like we're not holding it to ourselves or thinking, oh, that's a different department, like I'm not going to say anything. It's taking initiative. Like any way that we can improve and process, regardless of what your role is still improving the process for everyone involved. So I think everyone here does a great job. If you don't like initiative, you probably shouldn't work for a small company, because it is all hands on deck, as you all know. So not sure if anyone has anything to add there, but I think everyone here does such a great job of this value.
I also think that the calls we have on Friday, evaluating each client and having all the different perspective, is also a great example for that, because, you know, everyone with different type of expertise, as you mentioned, just give their output, and, you know, we build something from that. So it goes well to hand with innovation as well.
Something I have noticed about Sean with initiative is too many eyes, is like an understanding of what you're capable of doing, like with your time. Like I feel like you're very aware of your budget of time, and like you're very accepting of anything that you're able to do, but you like don't overpromise. And I feel like in dev that's super hard because you like don't always know how long things take and stuff. But I feel like in general, like I've noticed that you're really good at that. And I think that's something that's important with initiative too, is like not being like, yeah, I'll do all these things, and then you actually don't do them. So I've appreciated that about you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great take. All right. Last but not least, collaboration. And who else other than Lindsay Lewin? I mean, if I think of positively energizing everyone we work with, hello, that is Lindsay. So Lindsay, what does this mean to you? I know we see it in every interaction you have with the entire team, but I'd love for you to take a step deeper.
For sure. So first of all, thank you. It's an honor to be nominated. But beyond that, kind of honestly, what everyone thus far has talked about, it's interesting because these are not one thing I like about our set of values is these are not disparate ideas. I can't think of collaboration without thinking about initiative or innovation, et cetera. And there are some recent examples in my situation where I was trying to take initiative, and then I realized that there were some gaps in my skill set and my knowledge set, speaking specifically about the Monday.com stuff. And it took me too long to recognize it because apparently I've got an ego on me or something, but that's where collaboration kicks in. And what collaboration really means to me is essentially recognizing we don't all have the same skill set. We don't all have the same knowledge base to start with. So recognizing that despite the fact that we all physically work by ourselves, that all Search Nurture employees are far from alone, essentially. So it's very easy for a remote workforce to become disjointed and not really know what's going on, but I appreciate that we prioritize communication and ensuring that the left hand always knows what the right is up to, all that good stuff. And it's not about making everything into a team project. There are still plenty of things that individual AMs or other contributors can accomplish on their own, of course, but it's about recognizing where there are opportunities to improve a process, a call, a deck, a website, whatever it may be, if we were to bring in some other minds, essentially. So some examples that came top of mind, the one I was just alluding to, Savannah and Lindsay have both raised their hands to help me out once I realized that my attempt at taking initiative was failing. So I'm able to collaborate with them because they're more operationally minded than I am. Working with Dan on SEO pricing models, like making sure that I can add the sales perspective, essentially, not just looking at it from a tactical standpoint. Working with Mike to ensure that any of our branding efforts reflect what our clients want or need. Working with AMs, like Karina was saying, on providing feedback and things. So just making sure it's a give and take at all times, and that we all can kind of rise to the level of our strengths, and where there are areas of opportunity or things that we're just not as strong at, that's why we have a team. So that's what collaboration means to me.
Yes, yeah, collaboration is always so much better than doing things on your own. And I feel like I had a conversation with Spencer recently, and he's like, I don't like the term like remote workers. Like, it makes it seem very secluded, and someone who hasn't worked remotely before may get that impression, like, I'm going to be working by myself. But I never feel alone. I hope none of you ever feel alone. Like, I consistently feel like I can go to anyone on the team and be like, I saw you're working on this project. I'm interested. Can I learn? Or can you help me here? Just interactions that seem small actually go such a long way, especially with collaboration for me. Anyone else have a take on collaboration here?
I mean, if I can jump in.
Yeah.
I think collaboration for me has really been, and in a good way, like, I think things like this can be taken in sort of an unhealthy way and they're taken too far. But I think a lot of times it's really being pushed to push myself. And I think Lindsay McAndrews really does a great job of that for me. Because I feel like I'm someone who I can, not to bash myself too much, but sometimes I find myself falling into my older ways, especially when I'm really, really busy. And she really pushes me that, when we have a lot going on, that I'm still innovating, that I'm still finding opportunities to train, to update process. And that's something that I'd like to ideally do myself. And it is something I do myself when, stuff's not crazy, but I think it's something we need to be doing all the time. And I really think having team members who can, kind of help you keep your eye on the ball for that, as well as help you do that itself, to provide suggestions, to let you know what areas need it most. I think that's really the collaboration that I've benefited from most here. And I think, making sure that we don't ever stop working on our other core company values is sort of a big part of what collaboration has helped me with here. So that's something that I think of.
I'd like to add something very quickly. I think for me, collaboration is like a two-part thing. First one, being humble enough to recognize that there's things that even if you try, there's always someone who is better at them than you are, right? And the second part is like trusting other people and knowing that they can assist you and they have your back and that they will be there for you when you need them. And I think, for example, I feel that I do better on clients when I collaborate with other people, like with Karina, Dan, like Ali also. I think that whenever everybody's coming from their areas of expertise and then we jump up together and exchange ideas, that's where the best out of search nurture actually comes off. So it's something that I've actually enjoyed doing a lot, and I love it because I feel I can trust everyone on the team, and then collaboration, it's like an easy thing to do.
That's just to chime in a small note. Collaboration is obviously such a huge part of my role here. I wouldn't be able to do the vast majority of the things that I do without the collaboration of the team behind me. When it comes to blog posts or anything that we're putting out there, I always need that feedback from the experts. And even when it comes to content and copywriting, something that's not my strong suit, I rely on other people to give me feedback and and see what I've written. And yeah, this is just one of those values that I really wholeheartedly love and believe in. And we definitely embody this throughout the company. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, those are great examples of collaboration. I love the word trust. I think that that is such a big part of collaboration. And when you're asking someone like, hey, I know you're better at this than me, can you assist me? It isn't like, oh my gosh, they don't know how to do it. It's like, yeah, how can I help? Let me take that initiative. Let me have fun with this with you. So I love that. And then, so, you know, one of the last things I wanted to talk about is, you know, these core values are something that when you first start with us, you go through the interview process, we're talking on these core values, but it doesn't end there, right? It's something that during your quarterly reviews, you see it, through interactions, you see it, even if you don't know that you're taking the initiative or you're not like, oh, this is a very innovative moment for me, let me get this in my quarterly review. It's the people we have here just naturally embody these 4 values really well. And so carry it with you through your journey at Search Nurture. When you're making decisions or interacting with others, really keep this top of mind. And something that I really loved is I met with Lizzie on Monday and I was admiring her background of her home. She's like, yeah, something we're trying to focus on is like the feeling of when you walk into the home, it's, you know, welcoming. I was like, that's what I want for our culture. Like when someone new joins, I want them to have that feeling of the support, the collaboration, like it's smart people trying to just grow the company all together. And I think we do a great job of that. So really just continue to keep that up. But yeah, so last thing we have to talk about, and I know we've kind of been doing it throughout the presentation and we're kind of out of time at this point, but is there any, you know, actions that you kind of want to state that you've seen at Search Nurture from these core values that really stand out to you?
I could really quickly, just in my interview process, I think the biggest thing for me that made it feel like the absolute right decision for me to join the team was seeing with every single person that I spoke with, the core values underlying in everything that everybody said. I think that that was something to just really see that authenticity that was really important to me. And that's something that I value as a human being. It's just very important to be true to myself and things that just matter to me in my daily interactions with people. And coming, especially in the first call on Monday, I didn't know what to expect. And immediately feeling a true sense of community. I think that that's something that is really difficult to get with a work from home kind of environment, but it doesn't feel like that. It really feels like a community of people and everybody is different. And you really like see those highlighted differences in how people work together. And just every single person that I've met with this week, and Lindsay especially, her organizational skills have just blown me away because I feel like she truly is a great leader. And Zach is awesome. Savannah, you've done an amazing job of just making me feel so welcome. So overall, I really am thankful to have had this experience and to see everything in action with every single person on the team that I've had an opportunity to interact with so far.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're aiming for. I think I hear that too, is like people will go through interview process and of course the companies are like, yeah, we collaborate. But to see that we really live by our core values and we keep it at the forefront of everything is so important, and we're doing a great job of it. So, you know, unless anyone has anything else to say, I'll end it with, you know, just continue to do that, right? It comes naturally to all of you, and just making sure that we're leading with these values. And if maybe someone isn't, then use that integrity piece to hold people accountable, hold yourself accountable. And kind of do that reflection. But a lot to say. I think we have some great team members here, great core values, and I think that they're going to continue to lead us to, you know, be a very successful company as we grow, but making sure we're growing the right way, which has always been the most important thing. So unless anyone has anything else, that's it.
Thank you, Savannah. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye,
thank
guys.
That was great. Thanks, Savannah.
Bye.
Yep, Savannah.
Dale.